Hey everyone! I'm Albert Boris, and oh my goodness gracious, Nintendo just gave us an additional glimpse of hope for this game's future. Mario Kart World just got its 6th major update, rolled out this random Tuesday with version 1.7.0, and well, to start off, let's just reiterate, yeah, this game is getting better and better. I made a shorter video half a year ago talking about how bright the game's future was, back when 1.4.0 came out, and while not everyone has been positive to its drip feeding, which is kind of understandable, I feel pretty vindicated to say how well my hopes have aged thus far. Because how have the updates been since then? Well, 1.5.0 was admittedly not that exciting, it just added Polish language support and knockout tour teams, the latter of which was pretty insignificant. I mean, I'm happy for all the Poles, I might actually visit your country very soon, but yeah, it was a bit of a breather update. 1.6.0 on the other hand was a major game changer for battle mode, giving us Bob-omb Blast out of nowhere, and while that didn't change the core fundamental problems of battles, it was nice to have one more reason to play it. And now with 1.7.0, well, starting with the smaller novelty, we got the ability to attach stickers in photo mode, which was nice. Nothing too major, but yeah, at least the stickers have a bit more use now. Now, as for the bigger novelty this update though, oh my god, welcome back to Booster Course Pass. What do you mean we not only got 2 more knockout tour rallies, but we also have 6 more that will roll out in due time. Just like that, we even have a guarantee of what future updates will hold. That last detail especially is what makes me excited. The fact that we're getting more knockout tour rallies at all finally is already super important for this game's longevity in the present. Besides free roam, which I've rambled on about enough previously on the channel, knockout tour is easily my favorite of this game's modes. I love the whole gameplay of marathoning through 6 tracks without getting eliminated. However, in spite of all of this, it was also the mode which lost its luster the fastest. Because just 8 rallies isn't really all that much. It was the bare minimum for acceptable, but after a certain point, in my case half a year, it became hard to really get as invested in it anymore. Since I not only knew all the ins and outs of them at that point, but most annoyingly is that the same rallies just ended up getting chosen over and over again online. And this is despite the fact that that part's entirely random. It also didn't help that outside of like 3 or 4, I didn't think most of them were anything that insane personally, but yeah. But while for the longest time, I thought a custom knockout tour maker would have been the best way to combat this, after all, no repetition if everything's possible, if the newest 2 rallies are anything to go by, I think this might be just as good of a way to go. Would it be recency bias to say this? Because I think these are already my favorite knockout tour rallies we've gotten so far. I've only had the chance to play them for like 3 to 4 times at the moment, but while it's maybe the hype doing most of the talking, just because it feels so surreal to finally be marathoning new routes, they feel so much more unique than anything before to drive through. The first one, the Drill Rally, I believe to be the slightly weaker of the 2, and to put that into perspective, it takes you through a ravaging sea storm through Wario's Galleon, sharp mountain corners with huge shortcut opportunities, a steep dive into Mario Circuit, and lastly a march from Drybone's Burnout up to Bowser's Castle. Only one of the craziest ways you could end the rally in general, just because of how skillful Bowser's Castle is. It's an insane progression that builds up immaculately, and while the middle phase is a bit average, I was blown away overall still. And I also like that Drybone's Burnout isn't in just one tour now. On the other hand, the Boomerang Rally on the surface isn't anywhere near as insane overall. It's got much more laid back vibes and set pieces. However, it has one primary element up its sleeve that I can't get enough of. Gliders. They are just about everywhere here. Over the huge coastal plain, across Cheap Falls, up this vine stalk at the lake, at Mario Bros Circuit, even shortly after. It just feels so blissful to have so many opportunities at soaring here. And that's as if it didn't have a bunch of other neato sections too. I love the dual paths on the route to Cheap Falls, I enjoyed a huge dive into Chaco Mountain and doing half a lap of it, I especially love driving along the outskirts of Mario Bros Circuit, since you don't ever see this track from this perspective, and to top it off, the rally ends logically with the technical whistle stop summit as well. Overall, I do think having the starter circuit near the end felt a bit weird at first, but I honestly got used to it as well. Will these rallies eventually feel less special in another half a year? Obviously yeah, to an extent, but with all the fun little shortcuts and set pieces they have, it's not at all gonna be out of boredom, and I already feel my fatigue slowly healing up for this mode. Especially knowing we have 6 more as well for the rest of the year. I also realized I'm gonna have to redo my ranking of the knockout tours now, but that's a story for another update. What is highly relevant now though is the prospect of the best possible future this game could get. I mentioned last year that these updates Mario Kart World has been getting feel very reminiscent to an advent calendar, where each succeeding update feels like it's eventually building up to something big. And well, can you get more of an advent calendar than this? A literal guarantee of what future updates will have at the bare minimum? It's already an exciting journey in a vacuum to look forward to, since we're gonna have something to definitively look forward to for the rest of the year. It's very reminiscent to the booster course pass that way, which was also divided up into waves. But also similar to that DLC, this rally pass whatever feels not much unlike how that was an appeasement to keep us busy until Mario Kart World came out. That's not to say a DLC is certainly waiting for us at the end of this road, but the fact that we have a roadmap at all now, on top of all the previous ever-increasing updates, makes me more hopeful than ever about what Nintendo is planning for this game in the near future. Especially when you look at the timing of these version releases. For the most part, they've been coming out every 2 to 3 months since the game came out, besides 1.5.0, which came out a bit earlier, probably because it was also smaller. And this gives us ample ground to predict the nearest future for the game. With this information, we can infer that 1.8.0 will launch at some point in the fall, I predict September 16th, and that 1.9.0 could roll in time for Christmas, maybe say December 9th. And that could potentially leave us with a big 2.0 update at some point next year. That would line up with not only the leading rumors of when DLC is planned, which is early next year, but also the pace at which the next rallies will likely roll out. Either we get 2 per update, like we did now, with the last 2 coinciding with 2.0, or the next 2 updates give us 3 rallies each, right in time for the big one.
Or, hear me out, we don't get a 2.0, we just get a 1.10.0. In other words, another small update.
Okay, you know what? That is unfortunately a possibility as well. It's not like other games' update versions haven't shied away from that numbering as well, when they don't have anything big. I'm just saying, personally, I don't think it's too left field that this could happen, when all is said and done. And while you shouldn't take this as gospel, these are purely just my predictions. Yeah, boy have I missed making those. I should probably predict what the rest of the rallies will be as well after this video. But yeah, while all of these hopes may be a little copious, I just wanted to positively vent about this wonderful update, which, even if it doesn't lead to anything major, still guarantees one massive change for the better. Although who knows, maybe the next 2 minor updates will make additions on top of more rallies as well. We could still use 200cc, more battle mode options, and intermission disabling online after all. However, until then, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this update in the new rallies. Are you excited about the rest of them, and do you also hope this will lead to a DLC eventually? Actually, who wouldn't hope for that? Oh well, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, as I talk about even more Mario stuff on my channel. And so for all that has been said, that was all I wanted to talk about today, so now I'll be signing off.